Star Wars Battlefront will not have a campaign mode, Windows 10 will not run games with Safe Disk or Secure ROM DRM, and Rainbow Six Siege has been delayed until December. What do these stories mean for you? My name is Mooseman, and today I'm here to inform you of that very answer on today's episode of PC Gaming News Weekly. EA announced earlier this week that Star Wars Battlefront will not have any form of single-player campaign. According to a GameSpot interview with Peter Moore, the single player was never planned for development due to very few people actually playing the single player, according to EA's data. There has actually been a surprising amount of defense of this decision in games media, but in the case of Battlefront, I have to absolutely disagree. Battlefront's feature list is growing incredibly small. When the game was first announced as lacking space battles, lacking galactic conquest mode, and only having a few worlds, my interest in the game decreased immensely. Now that campaign has also been removed, it seems that the game is going to be extremely shallow in terms of variety of modes you can actually play. While the gameplay we've seen looks decent, one of the primary reasons the original Battlefront games were so beloved was due to their replayability. And without extra modes like the campaign that EA claims very few players play, very few players may actually stick around in Battlefront after the initial release period. Titanfall had the exact same problem. While the game was a lot of fun initially, the game lacked depth, resulting in the online population dropping incredibly fast. This is a huge disappointment to me because Battlefront provides an opportunity to experience the Star Wars universe like never before. The graphics and aesthetics presented in the new Battlefront are some of the most realistic I have ever seen, and is one of the main marketing points of the game. Imagining blowing up the Death Star or fighting one-on-one between Luke and Vader in the final battle, or even pod racing at that level of detail makes me sad that the campaign mode is not getting included. EA's data says that very few people play their campaigns, but that's probably because they haven't put out a decent campaign in a shooter for almost 2 generations of gaming. Safe Disk and Secure ROM games will not work on Windows 10, and while this only affects CD copies of the game, it does limit gamers who have updated to Windows 10 from playing older titles. These titles include Crysis, Dirt 2 and 3, GTA 4, the newest Medal of Honor game, Arkham City, and Arkham Asylum. Both programs act similar to malware and represent a massive security risk, which is the primary reason they were not updated to work with Windows 10. This issue is precisely the reason DRM of any kind will limit gamers of the future from experiencing the games of the past. While programs like Steam, Origin, and Uplay are all much more limited in their restrictiveness and intrusiveness, they represent DRM services that may cease to exist one day, taking your entire library of games down with them. The most frustrating part about this whole DRM fiasco is that DRM still always fails to prevent hackers from releasing the game for free on pirating websites. All they achieved by implementing Safe Disk and Secure ROM is making it harder and more dangerous for legitimate users to play their game. As long as the games are being created, someone will figure out a way to make them free. Instead of preventing this via brute force, the best way to keep people paying for a game is to offer better support, patches, and online services than a pirated version of the game can provide. Rainbow Six Siege has been delayed to December 1st after alpha testing resulted in a large amount of negative feedback from players. While the game was considered okay overall, there are quite a few bugs and quality issues that resulted in the game being delayed. It's refreshing to see Ubisoft taking criticism during the alpha and beta testing more seriously, especially after being so heavily criticized for Assassin's Creed Unity and Watch Dogs, but it's important to remember both of these games were also delayed, and they still came out in poor states. Delaying a game for whatever reason is bad news. While many defend the delaying of games as a way for the developers to get the game right, a delay in no way guarantees that a game will be any better, or that the delay will be enough time to fix all the issues. The biggest example of this happening is Duke Nukem. The game was in development hell for around 13 years, and even after transferring between generations of consoles, it still ended up being terrible. It's also a matter of the developer being able to identify all the problems. Rainbow Six is at an advantage because of the vast amount of player feedback, but games like Arkham Knight for PC had problems that varied between individual machines and may not have been recognized even with a delay. Whether or not all the problems with Rainbow Six are ironed out by December is yet to be determined. That wraps up this week's episode of PC Gaming News Weekly, but the discussion doesn't end here. Leave a comment down below of what you think about today's topics and we can continue the discussion further. Also subscribe because every Thursday I will be covering all the relevant PC gaming news.